Hey guys, Jill here from Ask a Vet Tech. Today we're going to be talking about chickens and the importance of giving them the supplement of grit and also the supplement of oyster shells. Now let's dive right into it. I made these two feeders to offer the supplementation for my chickens because it is super important for them to have both grit and oyster shells available all times of year. Offering a free choice to your chickens is a great way to allow them to decide whether or not they need grit or they need oyster shells. When we raise backyard chickens, unless your chickens are able to free range year round to find tiny stones to use as grit, you will need to supply them some. Now, what is commercial grit made of? Generally speaking, commercial produced chicken grit is made of insoluble stone, such as granite or flint. There are many benefits to providing grit for your chickens. Instead of being able to chew their food as we do, they have an organ called the gizzard, which basically is a large muscle filled with all kinds of ripply spots on the inside, and it grinds up the food. The process requires coarse material to break up the food, though. That's where grit comes into play. Grit enables the gizzard to break up the food matter into a softer, pasty kind of substance. After that happens, it can pass easily through the digestive tract. If a chicken does not have access to grit, many things can happen. They risk a crop impaction, and what that basically is, it means that their crop, where they store the food, becomes fully blocked and unable to pass anything on, resulting in an impaction. So if you look on here, this here is her crop. So this humongous area is pretty big for a chicken who just came out of the roost overnight. An impacted crop is potentially dangerous to their health. Not being able to break down and digest their food can become a serious issue. The lack of feeding grit to your chickens can result in as much as 20% greater food consumption. For this reason, you should always have grit available for your backyard chickens. It's a good idea to not feed grit to your chickens until they are 3 days of age. You do not want to get a crop impaction, and some chicks don't understand the difference between food and grit and will just gorge themselves on grit. This can either cause a crop impaction or rapid death in your chicks. If your hens are laying hens, you're going to want to add oyster shells in there. It helps to boost the calcium and other minerals that they're not found in our environment nowadays. Having a readily available oyster shell to have your chickens pick at their leisure is the best way to supplement them because you don't know if they need it or not. Only they know that. And if they don't need it and they take on too much calcium, you could also have another health issue on board. Most chickens can handle some extra calcium. They will either excrete it or they will store it. The problem comes in when there's an excess of calcium, like way too much. Too much calcium can cause problems with eggshell formation or, in more extreme cases, kidney function issues and or damage to the kidney. So, although chickens are pretty good at knowing how much of each food they need, it is possible for some chickens to overeat calcium. The amount of calcium your chicken needs depends on two factors: if they are a laying hen and currently laying, and their age. For instance, young chicks or pullets need a very small amount of calcium to support healthy bone development, and they're not ready to lay eggs yet. On the other hand, a fully mature chicken who is laying eggs requires much more calcium to continue healthy egg formation and other primary functions in her body. Roughly, pullets under the age of 18 weeks only need about 2 grams of calcium a day. For a fully mature chicken who have begun laying regularly, they need about 4 to 5 grams of calcium a day. Chickens that consume too much calcium will lay eggs that have calcium deposits on the outside of the eggshell, or even abnormal speckled eggs. Just like too little calcium can lead to various egg production issues like soft-shelled eggs or liquid eggs. If you're regularly finding misshapen eggs with tough, coarse deposits on them, it could be a sign that your chickens are eating too much calcium. Do roosters need calcium? Since roosters don't lay eggs, it is common to think that roosters don't need calcium. In the case of roosters, calcium is only needed to support their bone strength. Roosters, therefore, only need about half as much calcium as laying hens. If you think their feed isn't covering their calcium requirements, go ahead and supplement them. If you've never heard of crop impaction, I did a video on it, and I'll post that right up here so you can check it out. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. If you know someone who has backyard chickens, feel free to share this information on with them. And remember, I'm here for you. You're here for your pets. Have a great day.